Welcome to homegrownradionj.org, Chewing the Scene. Chew the Scene with Lauren and Danny. We are back after a long winter's nap.
Oh, my God.
We
Happy
were gone for
New
so long.
Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Decade.
Happy New Decade.
We are roaring in the 20s.
All right. How do you feel about that roaring in the 20s thing?
Well, I love the 20s.
Because the 20s didn't really end well, though.
They didn't end well. And the way things are going, we may not end well.
Does
Just
that,
kidding.
Oh.
No, not really.
Does that mean we're going to be wearing flapper dresses?
I hope not, because those aren't flattering for me. No, I'm going to be like Mae West. She was like, screw that. I'm going to wear like some nice...
I just got a splinter.
Mae West she was like, this stuff is not flattering. So she would wear like the turn of the century form-fitting clothes because she was the curvy girl.
Now,
like your girl.
I kind of didn't think that it was a new decade. Like, it didn't dawn on me.
I know.
That it was a new decade until, like, I don't know, December 31st, where I was like, oh, my God, it's a new decade.
I haven't talked to you since the last decade, Danny. Makes me sad.
God, I haven't talked to you since last year.
Oh, my God. We've been playing phone tag, but we both admit we've been a little bit reclusive. It's, like, not personal. We love each other.
No, it's been just kind of like our own, like...
self-care, like just doing what we want
at
home.
It's funny because I have a couple friends that are doing the 100-day challenge of no social media.
Ooh.
And Steve Fredericks is actually trying not to do social media.
God, good for him.
And I'm like, I wish I could do that, but because of our work, we can't.
I can't.
So it's kind of hard.
What I do. I do uninstall Facebook occasionally off my phone, so I don't get the notifications.
Yes, you do that.
I
do
do
that.
that. And I'm also, when I'm home, if I'm watching TV or doing something, I'll leave my phone upstairs because we are addicted. Kev and I say, "Hey, Kev,
Hey,
Kevy,
what's good, girl?
what's good,
Hey.
girl?" Kev and I,
Yes.
we talk about that
Everything.
everything.
We
all
talk
the time.
about
I gotta
everything.
say, for those of you on Facebook Live, God, I look like a ghost because the light
I
is
know
just like...
it's weird. It's weird being
No comment.
what? I'm weird. So wait,
Where are you going with this?
Kevin, what's happening? So how was your Christmas? Like, what's happening?
Oh my God,
What's
yeah,
new?
Christmas and birthday.
I know,
The
birthday,
holidays
happy
are always
birthday.
kind of crazy. Thank you. Are always kind of crazy.
How funny was it when I texted you? I'm like, happy birthday. You're like, it's not till tomorrow. I said, you know what? I wasn't on social media. And then you were out with Nicole, and I was like freaking out.
Nicole,
that I missed
it was so funny because I said, Nicole, you posted that, and everyone was like, happy birthday. Like, I was getting text messages too.
I was like freaking out.
So you weren't the only one. So I wasn't like, I was like, you know, and I felt bad. And then part of me was like, do you tell people it's not your birthday? Because someone came up to me and they were like, happy birthday. And I was like, thanks. It's actually tomorrow. Oh.
It's the phone. Answer it and say homegrown.
I just turned that up right there.
Oh, no.
Oh, you keep talking. I'll fix it.
So we're coming back.
You fix it. Oh, my fucking eyes.
Oh, jeez,
This thing. Can we unplug this?
No.
Lauren, this is like, I'm going to have to...
No, it's because when you're on, the phone's ringing. You got to answer it.
Fuck the phone. Hello, homegrown.
All right.
Happy New Year, people.
Oh, God. Filthy Kevin's back.
And if
I'm
you were
back.
like, oh,
Hello.
no. What's that thing when like the screen goes? This wasn't an episode of The Sopranos, folks, where it just cuts out at the end. That was my iPad that we use for Facebook Live that fell over. So, Happy New Year, everybody. Hi, Nicole.
Sorry. This is, yes, 1:30.
Nicole Rizzo,
Rizzo.
DeLuca. She just said friends.
Hello.
Hello. So yeah, so I had a good
Yeah.
So I watched like 4 movies. I saw Jagged Little Pill on
Well, so I was
Broadway.
going to talk to you about you're like, I'm on my way to this. I was like calling you. You're like, I'm on my way to the city. I was like, oh my gosh, but we didn't get to talk about
Literally
it.
the
that?
night before,
You
I
got
was
cheap
like,
tickets.
yeah, I paid like $99.
How did you do that?
And it was like,
what'd you find?
I just went online. I just
That's
went online.
amazing.
It was like Ticketmaster, 4th row mezzanine, and it's
Great.
in the what the hell theater is it in? It's in a tiny theater.
Yeah.
It's not your typical. There's no pit or anything. The band is actually on stage, and it was like I could see the actors. Like I could see every single
That's
emotion.
amazing. Did you love it?
I did. I mean, is there work to be done? Yes.
So did you feel like it went to Broadway too fast?
Well, it's funny because I was reading. I like to read reviews after I see a show, and the New York Times. It's a Critics' Choice for New York Times Critics' Pick, and they said that they felt in Boston everyone had a problem. Like it was almost like they were trying to give weight to every single character, and now
Yeah.
on Broadway, it's really the mom that's the central
Is
character.
she like a drug addict or something, right?
She's addicted to pills, yeah. So, But I feel like there's still a lot of Greg Allen just saw it.
Oh, he did. Okay.
And we were talking about it. And he said that he felt like there was still a lot of issues thrown into it, almost too many. So, I mean, I feel like it could still be developed more. But I got to say, though, Diane Paulus directed it, and some of that staging is just
good,
incredible.
Oh, well, I saw some clips. And I was like, that's insane.
The staging
dancing,
and the choreography is incredible.
Yeah.
There's, there's one scene where she goes to get her pills from her drug dealer, and they do it. She gets the pills, and then they do it in reverse.
Spoiler.
They do it backwards,
Oh,
so it goes all the way back.
Very cool.
And it revisits, and I mean the way that it's choreographed, I was like, incredible.
That album.
It was very cinematic.
That album is an anthem for my teen years because it came out 90.
Yeah, 95, 94.
So I was 90. Yes, I think I was either like a senior in high school, like junior, senior. It was like around that time, or I was in college.
I think it's a musical for millennials and for Gen Zers, right? Like, I think it's a musical of now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, like the Me Too movement is a part of it. And it's, it's definitely aimed for today's audience. I think you would love it. It's a rock musical. You're an Alanis fan.
Yeah.
I think as a choreographer, as a director, you're going to appreciate the staging. And Nicole Van Giesen was there the same day I was there.
Did you see her? I
didn't see her
because I messaged her and I was like, "Oh my God, Danny's there!"
No,
but I didn't know if you guys.
But we chatted about the show.
Oh, you did. Oh, good.
We did chat about the show.
I really quick. I'm gonna run because we got to call Austin and Barbara soon. I think there was a little miscommunication. They thought it was gonna be one. So we're gonna do a little
shuffling here and there.
Wait, Danny, have you?
Really quick.
Have you?
My friend. Perry Kruger, who's an amazing. Can you guys see?
Wait,
I know you can't see if you're listening on the radio.
Perry Como?
Perry Kruger
look,
is a brilliant artist, and he does all the sets at the Growing Stage, but he also works at a lot of other places. So he made a, I guess a dollhouse. Would you say it's
a toy theater?
It's a toy theater.
Yep.
And I always talk to him. I say, Perry, I really love that toy theater. I really want to buy that toy theater. I have a Shakespeare Globes theater. I have an Elizabethan theater. And Danny walked in today, and I think my face was like, can you tell?
Yeah, you were like, what?
I was like very gobsmacked. But he signed it, and it says, "To Lauren, much love, Happy New Year, Perry." And I'm going to cry because I needed this today. It's I'm not going to lie, guys. I've always said I was going to be honest about my emotions. And I'm feeling a little weird. Kevin knows. He's been Kevin's like my therapist, but I'm in transition.
Yeah.
I'm going into like another
You're in
phase.
Retrograde.
Yeah. Well, I feel that I have a lot of new things happening, a lot of new business adventures. I'm not doing a lot of musical theater right now.
You also have been very open about winter not being.
I hate winter.
Yeah.
And I hate January. I'm not going to lie. Today's not so bad, but it's a long month. It's gray. Tonight we're going to take down the Christmas stuff, but I am changing.
Take down the Christmas stuff.
The universe is going to make you uncomfortable to move you. I will say, and I'm starting a film that I'm in on Sunday as our read.
Well, that's exciting.
And I did get to see. I did a film this summer, and I did get to see the finished product of that. So that's going to start going out to festivals. I'm kind of becoming a horror queen.
Yes.
So all the stuff that
you love horror,
I do
so why
love
not?
horror. We tried to watch the Banana Splits, but my son was sitting like this, so I was like, Todd, we can't watch this with him. He clearly doesn't want to watch this movie. But I'm getting into the horror genre film stuff. So I have a lot of change going on, but it's weird not having a rehearsal every night.
Yeah.
It's weird not running to rehearsal every day for directing a musical.
But you know what? It's funny because when you are in rehearsal, then you're like, oh, I wish I had my nights free.
I know.
Like, I'm directing in March. So, next month is when I'll start my rehearsals. I'm directing Pinkalicious at the Growing Stage.
I can't wait.
So that, so I'm kind of enjoying not having the rehearsals. But it's funny because we had auditions yesterday for our EPAs. We were in the city.
Where were you?
We were at the Equity Building.
Right. I saw that.
And so kind of getting back into that mindset. And it's funny. It was kind of cool to be there, to be on the other side. Not as an actor going into audition, being on the casting side of it. And they've redone the building. It's pretty beautiful what they've done. I mean, those are all your, dues going to work in there. But I mean, like the room that we were in, the studio, overlooked like Times Square and everything, and so like all
I
those
saw the
windows.
pictures.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was
I had a blast.
awesome.
And I had a great time.
I just want to say shout out Alan Goldberg for doing my new headshot. That's my new profile picture.
I love that brick exterior.
You know me, I love brick. As a matter of fact, we're going to do a
Not
photo
a
shoot.
prick, a brick.
Well,
Hey now.
keep it clean. No, we don't care.
Oh, Kevin.
Oh, Kevin. So, and I want to talk about Kevin's. Can I talk about that?
Abstinence, sure.
So, Kevin has been working on a musical since, oh my gosh, 2 years ago.
17,
17.
16,
Summer
2000.
of 17.
Yeah.
And last night, we had a reading, went to Boot and Coffee House. We just gathered some friends.
Oh, you did it at Boot and Coffee?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
And I actually have some ideas.
old hang.
Keep your
Little brick exterior
keep
there.
your ears to the grind. Is that it? Keep your ears to the grindstone?
Well, I mean,
No.
I thought you were going for like coffee grind or something.
Oh, my God, yes.
That's what I thought. I thought you were doing that.
Look at that. I love when those, like,
I thought she
little
was trying to
witty
be all
mistakes
like, witty with the
happen.
coffee.
But yeah, and we had a really fun time, and I love Kevin's so smart, and I love hearing his words come to life. It's different when you read it, and then when you hear people doing it. So we definitely had a lot of laughs. We drank some
I almost died laughing.
He was dying.
I was
He
like,
was like
this is
slamming the
funny.
table. I'm like, Kevin, you're like scaring me.
But isn't it exciting to work on new stuff?
Yes, I love new stuff, and
You
I'm
know,
doing
like
a one act.
Original stuff. Like
Original.
Yes.
Derivative.
Something new.
Not
completely
regurgitating,
new.
no offense,
So
but not
exciting.
regurgitating the same material, but just changing. I'm sorry, we keep on changing the sexes of characters or changing whatever. Let's just write new material, and let's not change. I mean, I know this is
and
going
just
to get people pissed off.
But you want to know
but
something? Just
whatever.
to go back to Jagged Little Pill real quick, because it's essentially a jukebox musical, but it's
Right.
not, and that's what they've been saying. It is very much an original story, and the music, it's not centered around the music. There's a story, and the music plays
Right, it's not
character
I know what
to
you
it,
mean.
essentially, which I
That's
thought
cool.
was refreshing.
So everyone's loving it.
Yeah, I mean, some of the transitions into the music I thought were a little bumpy. Like you could tell, like they were probably like, how do we incorporate this song? But I think it's great. And I think
Have you seen West Side Story yet?
I haven't, but I want to see it.
It's good.
Kevin
I
loved
want
it.
to see.
Listen,
And you want to know something?
you're the only one that I so far.
You
that
want to
has
know
liked
something?
It. But
I
you know
think
what?
you want to know something. I think I'm gonna love it.
Well, why don't you try and get 6?
And West Side Story is very special to me because it was the first show I ever did in high school. I was Officer Krupke. And the music that they've cut, I love. However, everything I keep reading about it, it just sounds fresh and edgy and just, I don't know, something that I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a teenager when it comes to musical theater now.
That's good. That's okay.
I kind of like, I want to see something that's new and just
You do. You
that kind of goes on, steps over the line or whatever. I don't know. And I'm also excited there's new choreography. I
Right.
completely
Looks
love what
so
Jerome
good.
Robbins did, but I think,
Yeah,
it's exciting to have. But yeah, everyone I feel like you either love it or you hate it.
I just want to, because I'm going to get Austin and Barbara on the phone right now. I just want to also say something about me. I'm directing a.
Because she hasn't been talking about herself at all.
Nope.
No, I just want to talk about the one act that I'm directing with the Think Fast.
She just
One
wants to
Act
add
Festival.
something else.
Doing the scene with Lauren. Oh, and Danny.
Listen.
Oh, and Kevin.
No, she's very no.
Oh, unfair. I'm
Oh,
unfair.
Kevin.
girl.
I'm kidding.
Unfair.
Fair like the weather.
I'm directing a one act with the Think Fast. It's a Think Fast One Act Festival with Theater Project at the Bergdorf. Goes up in
Yes.
February. If you want to submit, it's 2 men, 1 woman. We're looking at late 20s, early 30s. Does not matter. Anyone.
Kevin and I be in it?
Any person can do it.
Can Kevin and I do it?
Just submit to lomomillsnj
Do we have
at
to
She doesn't
submit?
even
gmail.com.
hear
Do
us.
she's ignoring us. She doesn't want to
I
send
know.
it,
I'm
Kevin.
like, let me go make a call now.
I have a
She
splinter.
doesn't even hear us. But Danny, you're gonna like West Side Story. They do a lot of cinematography.
I heard that there's like
But a lot of people are like, I didn't come here to see a movie, and I'm like, you know what? But you kind of have to merge the mediums at some point.
well, even like Jagged Little Pill, like the set. Someone was asking me about the set, and it's very simplistic. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts that come in, and they bring in these pieces that form the outline of a house, and then they project images on it. And there's moving images at one point. I just think that that's technology, and that's kind of
that's what they did in West Side. There's a lot of like they set the scene.
Was it a packed house?
All right, I'll be right with you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won tickets. Well, didn't win tickets. I had a friend give me tickets to it because he couldn't go. He was sick.
Are we ready to go?
I am ready to go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our chewies. That's what we call our fans.
Our chewies.
So yes, we are back, and we said we're coming in with a bang into the new decade, and we are very excited to welcome to the Chew the Scene airwaves Barbara Bleier and Austin Pendleton. Thank you so much. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Ooh, can you hear? Oh, hold on one second. I have to take this off. All right, now can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we
Sorry,
go.
it was my fault. I had to take off my screen protector on my cell phone. So welcome to the airways, Barbara Bleier and Austin Pendleton. So we have been waiting for this. We were going to do this last week, but Danny couldn't be here, and you were very gracious to allow us to reschedule to the 9th. But you had a show. You opened at Pangea on Tuesday, if I'm correct.
That's right. Yeah.
I am excited because I'm going on the 21st, so I cannot wait to see you guys in action.
We'd love to meet you. Yeah.
So can I ask a little bit, what is the story behind Bits and Pieces? What brought this together, brought you two together to tell this story?
Well, we started doing these cabarets together at Pangea of 2016, and when Pangea was new as a cabaret space. Hello.
Hi,
Yes.
we're here.
Oh yeah, and so we do 2 or 3 cabarets a year each, and each one of those has 3-4 performances. This one's going to have 4, a total of 4. Mm-hmm. And the 21st is the third one. And so all of them have had themes, very clearly defined themes. And in fact, the next one after this will have, guess what, a political theme.
Oh, I can't imagine why.
Hey, it is 2020. Yeah, but we couldn't think of a theme for this one. So Barbara came up with the idea of Bits and Pieces, and the songs, and we juggled the song order a lot when we were rehearsing it, which we've rehearsed it over a period of a couple of months because I've been up in Boston being in the musical Oliver up there. But so over the couple of months that we've rehearsed it, we began to find we kept jiggling the order of the songs, and finally we got a song order that, in a way, each song seems to produce the next song. It's almost like free association, but it's bits and pieces. We call it
song is a story.
Yeah, each song is a story. So, but there's no explicit overall theme. So it's kind of a, as I say, free associative.
And I call it like life.
Yeah, she calls it
where one thing triggers off something else.
Yeah, right.
And you don't know why, but somehow it does, and that's what we call life.
And a whole lot of the songs are songs that you would know. And some of them are songs that some people would know, but not others.
And some of them are songs nobody knows.
Exactly.
So wait, so there's some originals too?
Well, a lot of our material is original because we are very fortunate to have friends who are songwriters and good songwriters.
Yeah.
And they've given us songs or let us look through their old unpublished material. So we frequently have songs that nobody knows.
Yeah, and we mix those in with beloved standards, you know.
The old chestnuts that we all know and love. And we're going to sing along with you, right? When we come. No, I'm kidding.
Someone successfully do that with Hallelujah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
Oh, yeah, that is a good idea. Hallelujah You're by Leonard Cohen, you know.
Oh, there you go.
Of course. Do I get credits for the sing along on the 21st when I'm there?
Yeah, of course. Okay. It's a deal.
Yes. I'm going to hold you to it. Okay.
So how did this come about? Was this something that the two of you decided to do? Did they approach you about it? Just tell us a little bit about, how...
Well, actually, in about 2000, I was doing a cabaret show, and there was Richard Maltby, who, by the way, is a guest in this show.
I know. I saw that, yes.
Richard Maltby had a song in Closer Than Ever that was a duet, and I had been dying to do it. And so I was studying acting with Austin at the time, and I said, listen, would you like to do a show in my cabaret? And Austin, in his own inimicable way, said, you're offering me one song?
Yeah, right.
And I said, do you want half a cabaret?
Yes, yeah.
And that's kind of how we started. And on and off during the years, we've done an occasional show or been part of a show here and there. Mm-hmm. And then 2016, I had heard from Barbara Mayer Gustern, our director, about Pangea, and I asked Austin if he wanted to do a show there.
And Pangea at that time had just become a cabaret space.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the restaurant itself had been there for a long time.
Right.
But in fact, I've directed a lot of Classic Stage Company, which is on East 13th and about a 10-minute walk from Pangea, and all the opening night parties were there.
Oh,
but
nice.
now the room that CSC used to have its opening night parties in is a cabaret space. And it's become, in just the 3 years or the 3 years since we started these cabarets, Pangea has become as popular a cabaret space as there is in New York.
Yeah, it's kind of the alternate downtown cabaret scene.
Yeah. And so it's been very exciting since we began there in 2016 to suddenly find ourselves in the hottest new cabaret space in New York. And but as we said, all our cabarets so far have been fairly explicitly themed, but now,
or the work of a given composer.
Yeah. The songs of Bumping Shire, the songs of John Bucchino and Amanda McBroom, or a theme, And now this one is kind of, like I say, free associative, and we like that. So obviously we want to do a politically themed one next because we have to. Because one must, and there are. You begin to look for political songs, and there are a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
And
a lot.
And the way that they're written, and then you'll have some originals too. I'm sure these political songs, even though they're probably from 20 years ago, they're so relevant for today.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
So I have a question. So Barbara, you mentioned Austin was your teacher initially. Is that or you worked together? You said was he coaching you as far as singing or
no?
No,
I was in his acting class.
Okay, and then that's how you guys met. That's so cool. So how many years ago is that?
Well, that was about 20 years ago, I guess.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and it's been, off and on since. And we did a movie together.
Yes.
Oh, tell us what movie.
It's called Sunset. It's on Amazon. And it's about nuclear war, another very relevant topic.
Right.
You could have that in the background, that movie playing when you're doing your cabaret.
Yeah.
That's hard to have shots from it.
Yeah, really.
That should cheer everybody up.
Yeah, make
right,
everyone feel real good. They'll leave.
We're all here.
Yeah,
Skipping down the road. That is so. So you immediately you must have just immediately had a connection as far as artists go that you can, which is such an interesting relationship. I think the artist relationship, when you could connect on that level with someone and then create back and forth. So is that how you guys work? Give and take,
Yeah.
right?
Very much, very much.
It's the four of us. It's the two of us and Barbara Mayer-Gustern, who's our director, but who also sings in it,
Right.
and gives us a lot of coaching about how we do the songs. And then Paul Greenwood, our accompanist.
Who is amazing.
Yeah, who is incredible.
I mean, he can do anything.
Yeah, and he has suggestions, and sometimes he sings.
Oh, is he
yeah.
going to sing?
It's our
Is he
cabaret
singing
family.
now? Is he singing now with you guys in the show?
Not in this one.
Not in this
No.
one. Okay, that's okay. I'll come to the next one. He'll be singing.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So
But it's sort of our cabaret family.
Yeah.
Well, and
love
you
that.
know what I'm finding too, the more I go to these shows in the city, and I'm talking cabarets, or you can tell each group that sings, or you could tell who their little family is that come and they support them. I think that's kind of cool, and I think that's what I love about working in the arts is you do have you find your family. It's
Right.
like it's their found family, you know.
Yes. Sometimes it's dysfunctional.
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's dysfunctioning.
Well, there's no such thing as a functional family.
Yeah,
I was
that's
gonna
true.
say they're lying if they're telling
They really
you
are.
that they're functioning.
So take us through, so do the four of you sit around and just start throwing some song ideas? Are you singing these
Yeah.
songs? Take us a little bit into like that,
Oh yeah, the world.
that world.
Yes.
And every once in a while, for example, and it works the other way too. I'll suggest a song, and Barbara will say something along the line of, "You can't be serious."
All right.
Yeah. Well, yes, and then it escalates to, "I hate that song," and then we come to some kind of truce about it.
Yeah, some kind of agreement. Barbara, you're a woman
Either-
after my heart.
No, either Austin comes up with an interpretation of it that makes it less
Horrible.
vile.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yes. Or he gives up.
hmm Those are the two scenarios.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, Barbara, is your background music or acting? Like, how did you start? Did you start doing musical theater? Did you start in a choir? Did you start?
I started as a concert pianist.
Really? Okay. So you
Yes.
play too?
Yes. I was a child. You did?
I did, but you know what? I did not follow through with my piano lessons, and it's my one regret. I don't regret anything in life, but I do regret not being able to sit down at a piano and just being able to play. I'm enthralled by musicians.
I don't play anymore. I was a performing child. I played Carnegie Hall at 4.
Oh my gosh!
Yes.
Yes.
And
And she never lets us forget.
and
I wouldn't either.
I went to Music and Art High School, which is now LaGuardia,
Yeah.
and I was the vocalist for their jazz band.
Oh.
And that got me into singing. And I worked my way through school, singing at folk clubs and jazz clubs and weddings and bar mitzvahs and other social functions. And I started studying acting because I loved doing story songs, and I thought it would help with it. And, of course, I ended up loving that, too.
So you are a native New Yorker, Barbara.
Yes.
Ah.
Do you know that, or can you tell it from my speech?
I just felt it. I felt that you were intrinsic to NYC. I knew it. Now, Austin, we obviously we know you. I've seen you in movies. I mean, I love you and My Cousin Vinny. You probably get that a lot. But you have a musical theater career as well. So just like I asked Barbara, did you start out like we all do, doing our musical theater plays in school, and then you kind of grew? Because both of you seem to do it all. You act, you do movies, you do musical theater. But what was your hook in?
Well, here. So I the first thing I did in New York was a play, not a musical, but directed by Jerome Robbins, and that was a very difficult experience. Not because of him; he was actually very supportive, but I had a very hard time with it. But my agent, who I just acquired when I got that part, said, you should take singing lessons because it'll expand the number of things that I can send you up for. Right. So I had gone to an off-Broadway audition for a musical when I was first in New York, and they said, "Do you sing?" And I said, "Oh yeah." I couldn't sing at all. And so I sang, and there was a pause, and they said, "Who is your teacher?" I couldn't sing at all. So I reported this to my agent when I got my agent. She said, "I think you better take singing lessons." So she sent me to a woman named Ora Whitty. So within a year, Ora had me able to audition successfully for Fiddler on the Roof, which was also directed by Jerome Robbins.
That's what I thought you were going to say originally, but then you said a play. And that was with Zero Mostel. Right?
Yes, that's right. That was the original production, which almost closed on the road, by the way.
Oh, wow. Ooh, do tell. I love backstories.
It was like, if you want to have a few laughs, read the Variety out-of-town review of Fiddler on the Roof.
Oh, I will.
I mean, it just says forget it. Just forget it. But Jerry Robbins pulled it together. And so we opened, and of course, it's still done all over the world all the time.
And it just closed.
In Yiddish.
They just did it. Did you see it?
It was wonderful.
Wonderful.
Yeah. But we were on the road for a number of weeks, and Jerry just pulled it together without getting hysterical.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and the kind of pressure that it was under, because everybody was stunned that it was being so badly received. They couldn't figure out why. And Jerry kept his cool. He just kept working it. He didn't change it that much. He just did all the right things.
Yeah.
It was to me, I didn't know that I wanted to eventually direct, but it was a lesson in directing that you don't get hysterical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except when you do.
Yeah, except if you get hysterical, you get hysterical at exactly the right moment where it will do some good.
Right.
But so anyway, so there I was, because of Ora Whitty, I without having gone to her as a singing teacher, and I was with her for years until she retired. I would never have been in Fiddler on the Roof. And then I was in a musical a few years later by Gretchen Cryer and Nancy Ford called The Last Sweet Days of Isaac, off Broadway, and that ran for about a year and a half, and that had a lot of singing in it. And then I've been in musicals since I was in a musical by Arthur Miller.
Wait, which
musical?
One? Yeah.
It's called Up from Paradise. It's about the book of Genesis, and I played Adam. Alice Playton played Eve, and Len Terry, who played God.
We just interviewed him too about a month ago.
Yes, and Lucifer was Walter Bobby, who's become a very important director.
Do you know that Walter Bobby, I'm sorry to interrupt you, went to the high school in the town where I live, and we're conducting this interview right now. He's a graduate.
Where is this?
Boonton, New Jersey. He went to Boonton High School. He's a Boonton High School graduate.
Oh, really?
I got to get him on the air. Someone give me his phone number. Yeah, he's a Jersey boy.
He's tremendous.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And he's also a wonderful actor, So he was Lucifer, and Lonnie Price was Abel.
Oh, my
really?
Yeah. That's how I know Lonnie Price.
I love Barbara, right? We're all shocked over here.
It was quite a show, and Arthur had adapted. adapted it from a play of his called The Creation of the World and Other Business.
I loved. Oh
And
my
it was-
gosh! I'm so sorry. I did that play in college. I did a scene from that. I love that play.
Really?
It's a wonderful play, yeah.
Oh my god!
And
Sorry.
it's a wonderful music. Yeah. No, absolutely.
I'm just like,
yeah.
it's just like bringing back all these memories. I'm like, because no one's
yeah,
ever heard
right.
of that play. When I bring it up, they're like, "What?" I'm like, "I did a monologue from that." Oh my gosh! Sorry,
Yes.
it's like I'm back in time. So,
Well, he turned it into a musical, which I think is even better than that play.
wow. Okay.
And contains a lot of the same scenes. And so that was going to move. I mean, we did it at the Jewish Rep, and with that cast and everything, that was going to move. And the book is great, obviously, and the score is by Stanley Silverman, and it's a very ambitious score and full of wonderful things. And then the press all came on the night of the day that all those Marines were killed in Lebanon. And the play treats everything, including the first murder, the murder of Abel by Cain, with a kind of a wry perspective. And my parents saw it that night at that performance the press was at. And they said, you're going to be in trouble. The atmosphere in the audience, they didn't want to deal with a wry, ironic look at Cain murdering Abel when all these Marines had been murdered that morning. And so then the next night was the opening night, and the party was going great, and everybody. I decided I had an uneasy feeling. So I decided to walk home, which meant walking from East 14th Street to East 76th Street.
Oh wow.
Every 20 blocks, I bought another paper. By the time I got home, I was in a flop.
Yeah. Oh.
But it still was very popular.
Yeah.
It's and it's been done in around the country. But it's still a little known, lovely musical by Arthur Miller and Stanley Silverman, and it's a musical version of the Book of Genesis.
That's
Who else
great.
would think of a thing?
I know.
Well, no, because you did the scene from the play.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful writing. And those are pretty much. And I've been in a couple of other musicals. I was in a musical with Judy Kay and her husband David Green from the play called Love, L-U-V. So that's my musical theater experience.
It's so funny.
And now these cabarets.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
cabarets are so much fun because you're essentially writing your own musical and
Yeah.
telling the story of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're like diaries, and I hate using that word, but they are. I love cabarets because I feel like I learn so much about a person when I go to their cabaret.
Mm-hmm. There's like a
That's
connection
exactly
that you have to them.
really
Yeah.
power of cabaret.
Right?
Yeah.
That connection.
It's
So
very personal on the part of the performers and the audience.
Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
So now, do you, Austin? Do you put on your director's hat when you're working on these cabarets?
Yeah, Barbara, what
or
happens?
Barbara, are you like, stop putting on the director's hat? We're collaborating here.
Yeah.
What's that? What's that like?
When I went into directing, I made a vow that when I was performing or acting, whatever, I wasn't going to be a director.
Is that true, Barbara?
So I try to hold to that. I don't know if I
I
succeed.
think you succeed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
I think we all make suggestions
Yeah,
Right.
to one another.
yeah,
But we have a director.
and who is very astute. I
Yeah.
mean, her eye is very astute.
Yeah.
And her voice is to die. It's
Yes.
beautiful. And
And if we disagree or throw out another idea, it's
Yeah.
just in the mix.
yeah.
I had a question. I want to go back really quick, Austin. So you mentioned how you were walking home. This is really for both of you guys. Do you read your reviews when you're in a show? Do you,
Well,
or do you,
I ordinarily don't when I'm acting, but there was something about that particular night. I thought I just had this uneasy feeling because I knew the performance the press had been at,
right?
and everybody was having, and the opening night, which was a couple nights later, was a big celebration. It had gone so well. I just had this anxiety, and I thought, well, that means I have to face this.
Yeah.
in that particular case, I did read them. Was not pleasant experience.
I read them.
You read them, Barbara.
I read them.
You do.
I can't stand information being out there that I don't know.
Yeah, because I know some actors don't read it, but I read mine. I really, I'm like, I'm not going to read them, or like, I'm not going to read the comments on my YouTube. But I try very hard. But it's hard. You're right. It's hard to have that information out there, and everyone knows about it but you, and it's about you. You know.
Well, I tell my class, if you must read reviews of something you're doing while you're still performing it, find out which the bad ones are and read those. Not to learn from them, because you got to do what the director told you. You can't change your performance.
Right.
But because the feeling you get when you read a bad review of yourself is exactly the feeling that your character is experiencing. They're besieged, they're threatened, Whereas if you read a good review or like a rave review of yourself, that puts you in the place opposite to what your character is feeling. Because any play or any script is about people in danger.
Right, or conflict.
And character's always in trouble.
Being threatened, being having to fight for their life on some level or another.
Right.
So if you must read a review while you're playing, then read the bad one, because it'll give you that feeling. And you take it on stage with you, and it's very exciting.
I love that. I'm gonna have to steal that.
I'm gonna steal that because we
actors.
teach too. We're acting teachers too. So I'm kind of gonna steal that because I think it's as much as we say tune out the noise, other people's opinion don't matter. Logically, we know that. But I think intrinsically inside us, it's hard to hear those things. So I always tell my students, feel it, go through the emotion, but figure out how you cannot let it affect your performance. Like, don't change anything,
It can feed your performance.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why,
That's the example I gave before. We were doing a cabaret one night back in 2000, I guess it was. And one of my favorite composers had given me an original song.
Right.
And he was known for never going to a performance of his music, so I felt fairly safe. And just before we went up, the house manager came over and said, take a look at the guest list and see who you want to come. And, of course, this composer's name was on there.
Oh, God. It's like the teacher watching over you. Oy, okay.
So I ran into the dressing room and I said, Austin, I'm not doing this song.
Oh.
And he said, why not? I said, John is in the audience, the composer. He said, sing the song about John. And the song was called If I Ever Say I'm Over You. This is John Bacchino, the composer.
Mm-hmm.
And it went fine. I really used my nervousness, and it worked for the song.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's true. It's true. You just kind of sometimes have to feed it as opposed to you got to connect with it, right? Connect with it instead of disconnecting
where you are.
That's so true.
And let it tell you something.
And then how was it? Did John like it?
Yes, he said, you never sing a note off key. And I said, is that what you worry about? I could have been much more relaxed.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah. Of course not. I'm a professional.
So for our listeners, for those that are, either in the business or they're looking to get into the business, I mean, you both have these prolific careers in so many different areas of entertainment. What advice would you give someone who's looking to either get their start or they're in it right now and maybe they're not where they feel they should be?
Want to take that? Mine would be don't give up your day job.
Yeah. I think that you have. The best way I can answer this is I the first 16, 17 years of my acting career, in New York was essentially going along fine. There were bumps in the road, but it was going fine. Then I had a spring, in a series of plays at the Brooklyn Academy of Music, and the reviews were catastrophic. I mean, for me, I mean, catastrophic. I mean, I'll just say one quote.
Yeah.
If he had any respect for the profession of acting, he would leave it.
Oh my gosh!
Things like that.
Wow.
And so I was suddenly, it was like a trap door. Oh, I was persona non grata.
Yeah.
I was friends with Lynn Redgrave, and when the third set of reviews came out, and we were having a meeting about something, she said, before you go out to Brooklyn, let's have tea at the Russian Tea Room. She said, okay, you're going to have a bad few years, so just be resourceful. Don't get thrown. She said, in London, they forgive an established actor, for some bad reviews. In New York, they don't. And that conversation with her it's one of the most important conversations I've ever had professionally. And she spent an hour with me. She said, so just assume, because it's going to happen. And it happened almost exactly on the schedule she said. I finally began to get what we'd call mainstream jobs again as an actor in New York 7 years later. So therefore, as a result, around that time, I began to discover the showcase code, where you rehearse and you do 16 performances in an attic somewhere. Right. And I thought, well, you know, my acting career, as I knew it, is at least temporarily over. But I can go anywhere and act. Yeah. I can go into attics. I can do this. I can do that. And it actually, I think it was the best thing that ever happened to me. So I tell the class this all the time. I say, you're going to have your big break, and then it's going to be a flop, and you're going to get bad reviews. I mean, you just assume that. Don't say, okay, now it's happening. I've got it. Don't do that. The business will pick up that you're doing that, and they will instruct you otherwise. Yeah. So you just have to be utterly open about what your definition of a career is. I haven't acted on Broadway except for Choir Boy last year, and now I'm about to again. But when I did Choir Boy, that was the first time I'd acted on Broadway in 20 years. And before that was like 14 years. Right. And so it's and the movie career comes and goes. There will be a little cluster of them, and then years and years go by. Yeah. Right. And then there's another little cluster. But what Lynn Redgrave told me was just roll with it, basically. The fact that she said it's going to happen was oddly reassuring. So it stopped all the self-talk of, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. You know, which just sets you up for going crazy. Yeah. Because it was not okay. And I would call up casting directors whom I knew, and I would say, I'd like to audition for this, and they would do a tap dance, and I would say, look, I know they're telling you they don't want to see me, and so they would say, yeah, you're right. I said, just let me, I think, so and they would be nice, and they say, okay, I'm just going to get you a slot. So I would come in, and one director explicitly said, what is he doing here? And others didn't actually say that, but they didn't look happy when I walked in the room. Right. And during that kind of thing where you're in the middle of reading a scene and they're doing paperwork. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know. They're not even paying attention. Yeah. As Lynn said, it went on like that for several years, but because I had that talk with her, I've told this to almost every class I've ever taught. It stabilized me, right. And I didn't freak out. I would have had it not been for Lynn Redgrave.
Now,
that's a wonderful story. That really is.
I know, Barbara. I was thinking, I'm sitting here because I was just telling my guys here, Kevin and Danny, I'm in a weird, I think this business is show, like you said, it ebbs and it flows. So you have these really high moments. and then you have these
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
really low moments.
So, never
So
going to work again moment.
yes,
And which-
Right.
It's a famous thing to say about actors that the actors say, "I'm never going to work again," but then sometimes it's true.
Right.
Yeah.
That gives it an extra edge.
But I love when Barbara, you said something about don't quit your day job. So Austin, you're obviously performing. You said you're coming back on the Broadway. Are you allowed to talk about what you're doing?
Tracy, let's play.
Oh, nice.
Are you doing is it the Minutes or something?
Yes, right. Yeah. It's called The Minutes. Yeah.
Look at me. I knew
Tracy-
it because it's been showing up in my
Yeah.
feed. That's amazing.
Tracy went online and looked at city council meetings. Apparently, you can do that. You go on YouTube or something and you watch a city council meeting. So the play is a city council meeting.
Oh, I
Parts of it are very funny. Parts of it are not.
of
Yeah,
course.
I bet.
It's
It's like-
angry, intense.
Oh, it's like
a very
it's like my town Facebook page. It's
Yeah.
when you post about your town,
Yes.
it's very funny. Maybe that'll be my next play.
Yeah.
But so Barbara, what? So you're a performer. Do you do anything else? Is this all you do now, or what did
Yes.
you do to subsidize? Initially your performing arts career.
Well, as I said, initially I was a pianist,
Right.
and I sang in places and played piano in places and taught piano. And when I graduated college, when I was 15, at Music and Art High School, I decided I wanted to become a psychologist.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I called up a psychoanalytic institute because I didn't know anything about anything.
Right.
And I said, what do I have to do to go there? And they said, well, first you have to go to college. And then you have to go and get a PhD. And then you can come and study to be an analyst. And so I did.
Wow, that's a lot of school.
And I got back into music when I did a benefit for a clinic that I was supervising analysts at. And I realized how much I missed it and how much I loved it and how much I loved doing it. So at that point, I became dual career.
Right.
And then I thought, okay, people are asking me if I'll go on the road, and I have a thriving practice and people dependent on me. But I thought, my kids are grown and they're independent and they can support themselves, and maybe this is the time to just take a risk. And so I gave everyone in my practice 2 years' notice.
Oh, 2
Wow.
years. Wow.
And my first job on the road was in Romania.
Oh. Oh, you really went. You really went on the road and a plane. Apparently.
Yeah, I went on a long, long road.
They love me.
They love me.
They love
Romania.
me. That's so fantastic.
I think that's, I
I
gotta say,
love
Barbara,
that.
in high school, I wanted to be a psychology
I think we all
major.
did. I want to be a child psychologist.
I still want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was fascinated
Tim, it
with
is.
it, and I loved being a psychologist, by
Yeah.
the way. I really did.
Yeah, I remembered in high school, I was like, I'm going to be a psychology theater major. And then when I got to college, I took a psychology class, and I said, I think I'm just going to do theater.
We're just gonna do theater. Never mind. And Austin, so you teach, and you're still teaching, Austin?
Yeah, actually, I think teaching is what's held me together because
Yeah.
it's the only stable thing. It's Herbert. I'd studied at HB Studio. And I studied with Uta Hagen there and Herbert Berghoff, her husband, who began the studio. And then Herbert, out of the blue one day, after I'd studied with both him and Uta at different times, called him and said, "You want to teach?" That was 1969.
Wow.
And
We
you're-
just had the half-century anniversary of when I started teaching.
That's great.
That's
And through thick and thin, I taught. And it's very stabilizing because it's the only thing that you're going to keep doing.
right.
And by the way, wonderful at it.
Yeah, I mean, there's always, I say this and then I'll say, I'll get fired, but but it's very stabilizing to know you have that.
Yeah.
And also, I enjoy it, and that's of course a form of being a psychologist.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, because
Well, it's humanity. It's humanity, right? Theater is life. Theater is human. So if you're getting into the inside of people and we're creating these characters.
In both of them, you're dealing with subtext.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, it's funny because I teach younger students, and always the big thing is if we're doing a scene, I don't have this person has more lines.
How many
than
lines
me.
do I
How
have?
many lines do I have? And that makes me crazy. And they know my students actually don't say it to me anymore because I said it's not about what you're saying. I said it's the subtext and it's the listening because my students are younger. They have a hard time listening. And I'll say everything you do on stage is a response to something you've heard. So if you're not listening, you're just spewing words.
Right.
And I was going to say,
That's exactly.
you can't.
The only acting teacher I had outside of HB Studio was Robert Lewis. A thing called the Lincoln Center Training Program.
Yeah.
Was basically an 8-month audition for the Lincoln Center Company, but it was every day for 8 months, every weekday. And his big mantra was talking and listening.
Yes.
He would say you can be doing the most authentic and shattering and appropriate emotional work. You can understand the text and how it's to be spoken perfectly. But if you're not talking and listening, it, and I quote, all goes down the toilet.
Yeah. It's the truth.
Yeah.
Kevin, you wanted to chime
Kevin
in.
wanted to chime in and
I
say
was
something.
going to say on your thing about your students and your lines, you can't quantify your self-worth by how many lines you have.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many lines you have, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I always remember a picture of an actor named William Hickey in Bright Lights, Big City, had one line.
Yes.
He was in Washington Square Park with a ferret in a cage, and he looked up at someone and he said, "You want to buy a ferret?" And it stole the picture.
Yeah.
It really does.
He taught at HB Studio.
Yeah.
Oh,
He was
interesting.
my first there.
One icy Monday morning, I was walking to early Monday morning class, and he was too, and we were walking down the streets clutching our takeout coffee. I said, "So how you been, Bill? I haven't seen you around in a few months." He said, "Oh, I went and did this little movie with John Huston, for which he got an Oscar nomination."
British honor, right.
Yeah.
I mean,
He
even...
was very...
Oh, did we cut out? Hello?
No, we're here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I cut out. No, and I was going to, I mean, this is kind of a big example, but like Tom Hanks in Castaway had no lines. We watched him 2 hours, and let me tell you, I was there with him, and
Yeah, totally.
I believe...
Well, he's an extraordinary actor.
Oh, my
Same
gosh.
with Redford in Lost at Sea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I just think as actors, it's so exciting. You know, it's funny talking about how many lines, but when you don't have the lines and now you're like, oh, what am I thinking? What's the subtext? What's my character's motivation here?
Yeah.
It's. I feel like it's even more fun to play with.
And it's more exhausting. I did a play where the play was essentially about me, but I had the smallest part. And there was a scene when the one actress had to spew a lot of vile things at me. It was a political piece. And I had to sit there.
Oh, we could try that.
It was a political piece. So, and I was playing a possible first lady that they dug up some dirt about me. And she had to say all these things. It was a 3-page monologue. And I just had to sit there. And I will tell you, by the time she was done with that monologue and I had to get up and speak, I was exhausted because I was so tired because I wasn't just sitting there like zoning out.
No, the concentration you have to put
You
into
saw that. And actually, Danny saw that play.
Yeah.
And he was like, I love how you tapped your finger. He's like, I could see that you were thinking about everything she was saying about you. But yeah, the lines thing is like, it's like the one thing. So anyway, they don't say it to me anymore because they know when I'm going to come out. Come back at them with. It's not, just like Kevin said, your worth isn't how many lines you have. Mm-hmm. It's more than just speaking words, you know. You know, it's connecting with that human.
With singing,
yes,
it's still talking and listening.
Yes, totally. The thing about listening, if somebody else has a long speech, is for you, and it sounds like you were totally on this. it's a series of decisions to not speak.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That was the hard thing. Why wouldn't I come back
Right.
at her and defend myself? So that's
And
what
so
was,
you find the reason in yourself why you don't.
Yes. Yes.
I think I'm just going to let this go on until she's. Well, maybe I should interrupt this. No, I better not interrupt this.
And
I should let her get it out. She's trying to prove. I mean, all the different things, and you don't even have to telegraph that to the audience.
No.
But if it's going on inside you, that keeps you. That sounds like what it was you were doing in that.
I totally.
And I think that's so powerful for the audience too, because they're watching you as that character, going, "What are they going to say?
Like, what's next?
You know?
What's next?" And they're sweating with you because they're uncomfortable because they're hearing all these cringy things that this person's saying, and they want you to say something, and they're like, "Oh, it's like when you go to see a movie and you're there with the character."
You want to yell at the screen.
Yeah. So I am definitely coming on the 21st. I already shout out to Ralph for Ralph Lampkin, who is amazing for setting this up for us today. I'm so excited. He's a wonderful man, and I'll get to meet him face to face on the 21st. So I will be there. So where can we get tickets? Do you guys?
Brown paper. We'll comp them.
We'll comp you.
Oh, no,
It's
for
who you
us.
know.
No, for us, but I mean for everyone else, because you're not comping everyone else. You're all paying if you're listening to go see.
Brown paper tickets.
And then would it just be bits and pieces? I'm going to post about it, so don't.
Yeah, brown paper tickets, our names, and bits and pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this was I had
So great,
honestly,
yeah.
this is like a master class in acting for me right now, and I could go on and on, but I cannot wait to see you. And I'm a hugger, so I'm going to be giving you guys a big hug.
is.
That's wonderful.
When I meet you on the 21st. But this has just been so enjoyable for me. We've been on hiatus
Yes.
for about a month, so we were
It
excited.
really-
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that?
I said it really has been.
I know. It's like we
Totally.
just
We could just
connect-
keep going on and on about acting, and this has been really special.
I know.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
thank you both for joining us today. I will definitely be seeing you on the 21st. And
We'll look forward.
yeah, and Barbara, I did send you a friend request on Facebook. I don't know if you got it. So if you want to check your
I don't know. I'll check it
Go
out
check
because
that.
I'd love to be friends with you on Facebook.
Yeah.
And yes, I have a largely political post.
That's okay.
Hey,
You
it's
go-
all right.
Listen, this is the times we live in, right? We can't.
Don't
be
you love? Don't you love how you have to like preface with that nowadays, Barbara? Yeah.
You post what you want, Barbara. And Austin, you're not on social media, right?
Well, I am, but I never check it.
Okay. So I won't send you a friend request.
I haven't looked at it in 10 years.
I tell him about it.
Yeah, right.
Tell Barbara fills you in.
There
That's
you go.
okay. Thank you both. We'll talk
Yes.
more on the 21st. So you could still, everyone listening, they have a performance on Tuesday the 14th at Pangea at 7 p.m. and the 21st at Pangea at 7 p.m. I'm excited to go to Pangea too.
It's a wonderful
terrific.
place.
It's
I've never
terrific.
been there.
Oh, it's a jewel box of a room.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Can't
even
wait.
Shanahan and Arnaldo Caballero, they're the owners. They're just wonderful.
Yeah.
oh, I'm so excited.
That's great.
Oh,
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Enjoy your day, and I'll see you on the 21st.
Absolutely.
Great.
Look forward
We
to
look
that.
forward.
Thank
Yeah.
you
Thank
both. Thank you.
Hi.
Take care.
Take care. Bye. That was so much fun. I'm
I
sorry.
felt like we
love-
really got going on that acting thing, and it was like.
I know I didn't want to. Because I gotta go pick up my
No,
children.
but I think it was
they
just,
frown
it was,
upon it,
was
if I'm
ex-
late. If
gotta
I
be in
leave
that
them
car
out.
line.
That car line.
That car line. That car line is. But
we
yeah,
would
it
have
was just
started
really-
talking more if it wasn't for those dang kids. I love my.
But it was really exciting though, just to, I mean, to hear from them, like these
I
these
know.
two prolific entertainers. I mean,
I'm sorry. I got
just-
so excited when he was talking about that Arthur Miller play because I did that in college. It's
well,
so
and the
funny.
Arthur Miller musical, because when you think of Arthur Miller, you don't really think
No, you
of
think like the Crucible.
Death of a Salesman. So that was really, really exciting.
Oh my God, that was so fun! What a great day back on the air.
Yes.
So
good way to kick off 2020.
Seriously, what nice people. Really? I'm just, you know what?
Mm-hmm. I just love to
have
hear. You know what?
say-
I love to hear about how they got started in the business, and just because it was just a different time
It was a different
compared to
time.
how it's like now. It's
Yeah.
just
Like it was
Yes.
funny when he was saying like a lot of stuff about these directors. I feel like they don't do that now, because we're a little bit more. Not that they don't do it now. It's different. People, I think we did have a little thicker skin with certain things back in the day. So I think people are so afraid of offending people.
Yeah.
Don't you think, Kev?
I think
do
we
you
had
think?
more of a community. We were more connected, I feel like, as people
Now.
back then.
Yeah.
Back then.
I feel like
More
we're less
community.
connected.
Even though
Yes.
we're connected.
Right. It's the
Right?
irony of the technology,
Yeah.
because you could hear how
Yes.
even the little moments that they had back then, they cherished the tiny details.
Yeah.
And today we're like, well, we're not there, so we're not good enough, or we're somehow
And
falling short
there
of a
was
mark.
physical connections too. I mean, like you couldn't just go on like Facebook or anything
Right.
like that. You had to be in the room and have that conversation.
You had to
It
go
was
to
just-
events. You
you
had
had
to
to
like
go
he
to
said,
events.
he would reach out to a casting
Yeah.
director and say, I want to audition. It's just it's so right. You are so right, Kevin. And there are these memes that are like, it talks about the phone with the cord, and it was like we were more free when we had the cord on the phone.
when you had
And
it
you know
wrapped
what's
around
funny?
you.
Because I am a social media person, just because of the business, and I know you,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
are too. I mean, you have your YouTube, but when the cell phone first came out, I'll never forget. I got one for Christmas, and it was like the big flip. Remember the big flip
Yes.
phone? And I was like, "What the fuck's this?"
Zach Morris phone.
Yeah, really. Ooh, I just like literally dropped. I was like, "What is this?" I was like, "I'm not taking this," because my parents wanted me to have a cell phone, just because in case I was like, I was commuting to college, whatever.
I got mine when I was 18.
And it was so big, guys. It was like, I mean, it was like, that's how old I am.
I had a
But-
BlackBerry.
It was a luxury. It wasn't a
it was
necessity.
a luxury.
Yes.
My parents were, and I said, I'm not taking this because when I'm not home, I'm out, and I don't want to be bothered.
Ooh, she's sassy.
But now, because now I have kids. Like even tell you, I'm at rehearsal this morning. My
So,
daughter's texting me. And
What
I'm like-
happens if your daughter turned around and said that to you?
I would say I'm putting a tracking device. No, they actually have an app, and I've actually
It's already
threatened her
built
with
in.
it. Yeah, I've threatened her with it.
Life
I'm like,
360.
yeah, she goes, Mom.
Yeah, but that makes helicopter parents even worse.
No, you know what? I have to tell you, I know I should be. I really
just loved your response.
Who?
You.
Which one?
You're like, I will put a tracking device on you.
But I won't, because I know she does not tell me everything. Like, I'm not an idiot. I was a 14-year-old girl once.
Yeah.
But she tells me a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I don't
because
cover
you've
over
built
her.
that trust with her.
Yeah.
We have good communication.
You got
Yeah.
you guys are chips and crackers.
We're
and
chips and
stuff.
I mean, we're
Crackers.
learning now. The more with this technology, people are starting to abstain from stuff like
Well,
this
like I
because
said,
they have. It's like, not for nothing. Our attention is always fragmented throughout the day. It's
I think-
always.
and,
It's
and,
true.
And people are depressed. Like we've noticed the depression rising.
Oh, yeah.
Is it because we're on our phones and we're comparing? I don't compare
comparing.
myself to anyone. I don't care.
Yeah.
If you don't like me, that's on you. If you have a judgment on me, what I'm doing, that's on you. That has nothing to do with me.
You know why I think
talk about this all the time.
depression is becoming such an issue?
Why?
I've been interested in it, so I've been doing some digging and research, and a lot of it, again, we are social. We're mammals. We need social cues from our peers. From even if you don't like people and you're not a people person, still being out to see social cues and how you respond to other people. You don't get that from a phone. You
No.
don't get
No.
that, and it's not that it's a bad thing. Like, it's good for basic, concrete, factual information. What time is a concert? What time is this? Can I give you money? Like, it's great for that kind of stuff. But to form like connected relationships, it's like the sooner you could get off texting and go to FaceTime or go to
Or a
like
phone call.
call.
Hear the voice.
You need to hear those social
You need to
cues.
hear the voice. Yeah.
You don't hear
You wanna know-
social
And it's
cues.
hard
Well,
to
you want to know
text.
why? Because the way our brains work is we will then create scenarios in our head that
Oh,
may
yeah.
not necessarily be true.
And
then,
fill in tone.
And
Fill in tone.
but then me with the manifesting guys, and then so we're creating these scenarios in our head, and then we manifest it happening.
We've had many conversations
Self-fulfilling
where I'm like, "Are you
prophecy.
okay?" You're like, "Yeah, I'm fine," or you'll say to me, and I'm like, "I'm fine."
No,
And
because
it's
he texted me one night, and I was talking to him. He's like, "Good night." I was like, "What's happening?" I was like,
But
maybe you
but
didn't- but maybe-
you added tone.
Yeah,
She
see?
went good night, where I was just like,
Good night.
Good night.
And then I was like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm just." But you're right, because maybe I was feeling a little bit like good night, so that's why.
It's good. Or I mean, yeah. Or you pick up on how someone normally
Right.
chats with you kind of
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
So
But that
yeah.
that, do you remember that? You're like, I'm
Yes.
sorry. I know.
Well, sometimes I get short.
But I do it to you all the time. I'm like, are you okay?
I'm
And
like,
you're
I'm
like,
fine.
yeah, I just need a break.
Sometimes I get short with people, and I'll put like just K or like
Yeah.
because it's like I'm
Well, we
doing
fight.
something. I need to just throw like a acknowledgement that I heard what you
We
said.
challenged you. Yesterday, the two of
Oh
us.
God, we went head to head.
We were like, seriously. If
I was like,
you
what do you mean about? What about them? What about them? How about this? How about this? And you're like,
Everyone
"Yeah, I
like,
don't like that.
"Whoa!" I'm
Fuck
like,
you."
come on. And
Yeah.
literally, I was like out of the shower. He's like on the phone with me. I'm like, do my makeup. He's like in the car with me. We are like, we don't fight. I don't want to say we fight because we always have each other's back.
It's like
He knows.
siblings.
He's
But
like
that's
my
like a
bro-
sibling
you
thing,
too.
yeah.
I'm
It's like a
very-
sibling thing.
How many times have someone said something and I have been like, what?
And I'm like, I'm fine, Lauren. Back off. I don't like that he said that. And I was like, I'm okay.
Listen, that's the one thing about me. Like when I generally love you, like generally
Mama
love
Wolf.
you, I get like,
She gets
like,
Italian.
I do. I get all Italian. I'm gonna flip that damn table.
It's good. You haven't said that in a while.
I know. Maybe
Oh
it's
my
time.
God. Remember there was that one time there was like a story they told me about like church or something and you were like ready.
They invited me back. So long story short, oh my God, I could talk, and then we gotta go. So it was Christmas like
I gotta
5 years ago, and my daughter had to light a candle. I'm not gonna mention the church because it's.
Make sure you say it like you did the last time. It was very funny.
So she had to light a candle, and we got to church 5 minutes later than she was supposed to be there, but there were still 10 minutes before church started. And they wouldn't let her light the candle because they had a young girl running this. And, I don't know if you know young people today, they don't know how to troubleshoot.
Mm-mm.
They're rule followers, but they don't understand how to kind of like make quick decisions. Like, yeah, my daughter could have put on the robe and lit the damn candle. Well, I lost my mind because first of all, it was like 5 years ago. I have a baby, okay, or like it was like even
So you
longer.
had
like,
Luna.
I had Luna. I had my toddler. I had my older son, my daughter, my husband, and my nephew. So I'm trying to get everyone out of the house for 10 o'clock. I lost my shit. I swear to God, in the sanctuary. It was not I felt terrible about it, but I flipped the MFing table, man. It was like Teresa Giudice. Wait, how did I say it? Like that? You're like, you have to say it the way you said it.
I think you did, but no, you were a little bit more because it just happened.
It just happened, so I was a little fiery.
This was 5 years ago?
It was, or like 6.
It was right when our show started because
Yeah,
you said
I was
we were
really-
here.
So I ended up writing an apology because I felt bad. I mean, it was really a scene. It was really a scene.
Oh, yeah, because I think I asked you, like, what did Todd say?
And Todd was like, oh my God, but it was the best thing that happened to me because we stopped going to church. It's like nothing personal. Some people love church. Go do your thing. I'm not judging that. But for me, my life got better once I kind of removed that aspect of it. And I am very spiritual. I really, really
Just
am.
because you don't go doesn't mean you're not.
But I did get a nice letter from this one guy from the church that was like, we miss you. Please come back. So I'm going to write to him and say, right now we're not practicing organized religion. But we do other things. Like I'm going to give a shout out to my husband because Todd and we have a neighbor behind us who we bought him Christmas presents.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? So like that's church to me.
Yeah.
Giving in. I don't have to go to a building.
What did he say when you gave him the presents?
Well, so Todd's like, hey, were there some packages outside your house? And he was like, yeah. And he goes, well, that's from me and Lauren and the family. He's like, I didn't know if they were for me. I didn't open them yet. So hopefully he opened them. It was just some clothes and some towels and just some things that we thought he can use because he does hang his laundry on on our fence. And it's a little, annoying. It's just so, but what we noticed is that he needs some new clothes. So that's what we went and we got it. I'm not saying this to be like,
No,
we're so
no,
awesome.
no.
But I'm saying this that I don't have to go to a building, to worship the universe or whatever. I do miss that community because it is a community when you have a common ground, but that's why we have our theater family. I mean, you know what I mean? Like you'll find the community. Give back, be good. I got to go get my children. Next week, I don't know if you're going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be here? We're
don't know
still
yet.
on the fence.
We're still on the fence
because
we're
he has
doing this-
something. Which is fine, but we're interviewing Zachary James. Zachary James just is like this breakout star at the Met Opera. Totally handsome, such a sweet guy. He just did like I'm gonna pronounce it wrong, like on something opera. I don't want to say it, but next week, and then we have Eileen Angel who will be with us in 2 weeks. She's an author. So peace out, and See you next week.
We'll see you next
Thanks,
week.
guys.